Thank you, sorry.
Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Verona Township Council for Monday, the 5th of May, 2025. Madam Clerk, could you please read the Open Public Meetings Act compliance?
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied with respect to this meeting of the Township Council. The meeting time and date were included in the public meeting notice, along with the public internet link and telephone call-in information. Said notice and meeting agenda was posted in the municipal building and sent to the official newspapers of the township, the Verona City Grove Times, and the Star Ledger, at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and handouts can be viewed online at veronanj.org/council meetings. A public comment period will be held in the order listed on the meeting agenda, and instructions on how to comment will be provided at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Could you call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland?
Here.
Councilwoman McGrath? Councilman, Deputy Mayor McAvoy? Can't see.
Present.
Mayor Tamboro?
Here.
Mayor also present is Township Manager Kevin O'Sullivan, Deputy Township Manager Michael Kraus, Township Attorney Rosemary Ferrara, and myself, Municipal Clerk Jennifer Kiernan.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stand one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Boy, it's nice to hear some younger voices when we do that. Get a little tired of listening to deputy mayors over and over again. That's a nice one. All right, for the mayor's report this evening, just a couple items, and we'll get into some of the business. I'm having some technical difficulties with my computer, so bear with me here. First, I had the opportunity last weekend to attend, 2 weekends ago, I guess, to attend the photography exhibition put on by Pam Wiley Blake at the Verona Public Library. Pam is a very talented photographer. She did an exhibition last year, and I have one of the pieces in my house that really spoke to me, and there's some amazing ones this year as well. I was stunned to learn that a lot of them were taken just on a cell phone camera. In addition to her photography pursuits, Pam's a longtime resident of Verona, and she is a member of Unico and the Peace Club of Verona. So I encourage you to take a look at her photography. Some of the items from last year downstairs, and everything else is upstairs. So please take a look. If anything speaks to you, sure, Pam can get for sale. I had the opportunity to attend a mayor's breakfast at Caldwell University, hosted by President Jefferson East. It was a great opportunity to talk about some opportunities and learn more about Caldwell. There are a couple really interesting things that came up that I thought could benefit Verona. One being Caldwell is trying to do pop-up shops in some unused retail space, which we have unfortunately some of in town, meeting some high need areas. So we spoke about providing some in-person services, especially for our senior population that might otherwise not use the internet and things for certain things. Hopefully they will get in touch. I also encourage them to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, which they did and spoke about some other opportunities and learned a lot at that. I had the opportunity earlier before this meeting to attend the ribbon cutting, though they've been around for a long time. It wasn't really a grand opening. It was more of a this is what we had been doing type event at Acton Academy, which is a small school in Verona housed in the Lutheran Church, though it is not a religious institution, and they promote a very student-driven educational environment and very mission focused. So take a look at their website materials if you are interested. A lot of great things going on there at Akron. And finally, I had the opportunity and the honor to greet the family, relatives, and friends of Kenny Brown, whose memorial fund is providing the bench his honor at Everett Field. And it was a great opportunity to learn more about this exceptional individual that we will be honoring in perpetuity with this plaque at Everett Field. And that is the conclusion of my bullet point items. I'll invite Mr. Fulcher.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to start off, we haven't been in for a while. You would see the paving and the roadway work. So in the next few weeks, be prepared for them. And the county's doing paving and curbing, so there'll be an experience, like my wife has said, I've been through Verona and it's an experience. So that being said, that's one of the things coming. I know you're looking forward to the new roadways in Verona and doing our best to help. Couple other things, May 17th in Montclair, the Iris Gardens will be open. And it's from 11 to 3 p.m. at 474 Mount Avenue in Montclair. Very, very nice. If you've never been to the gardens, they're really gorgeous and hopefully get a beautiful day. And it's an enjoyable place to go. Same day, May 17th, is our computer recycling day at 99 Bradford Avenue in Cedar Grove. That will be from 9 to 3 p.m. and I know people get there very early. There will be a line, so the early you get there. Or go later on until 3 o'clock, and hopefully you can zip right in. And the fishing derbies are upon us. I was speaking to someone in the audience, May 29th, which is a Wednesday at Verona Lake at Verona Park. Ages are youngsters to 15-year-old maximum, and registration is from 5 to 6 p.m. Fishing is from 6 to 7, and including that will be the awards. And basically that's about it, but we do have things coming in the next couple of months. All the golf courses are open, and as long as you don't have rain, looking forward to it. There, anything else, Council?
No, I had the opportunity to drop off some hazardous materials Saturday, and it was my first time doing it actually, and I was really struck by how happy everybody was to receive our hazardous waste. Everybody was just wonderful. We got through very quickly, and my dogs got a lot of attention. So it was overall a great morning. We were in and out in
Public work, Mr. Sands, you already said you were very happy. But it is all of our events there, they move very quickly, and you have a lot of things in your garage and your basement that needs to be disposed of, and it works. So be prepared for next May again.
Disposed of proper.
Yes,
yes.
That's
correct.
Can we use your slogan? Now,
Which is?
since you're not gonna use Aggressive County, because that's the county you're doing. Look, it's been an experience. Come to Verona, it's been an experience.
Any other questions for Scott? Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Well,
At this point, I'm going to call up Ms. Jessica Pearson, the chair of the Verona Environmental Commission, to speak about this year's poster contest.
Good evening, I'm Jessica Pearson, and I'm joined by Sarah O'Farrell, volunteer members for the Environmental Commission, and as we celebrate Earth Month, which was April, and with that, the 4th grade poster contest that we hold annually as an organization. One thing I can say about this contest, it really shows how much our youth understands the importance of sustainability in our communities. They give us very constructive suggestions, some of which would be some of the taglines on some of the drawings we received were join the green side, not the dirty side. Don't litter, do better. Don't let plastic bottles be our history fossils. Don't treat the lake like a recycling bin. No idling means more smiling. Don't just sit there, go somewhere. In other words, don't idle. So they do get it. They drew what they see every single day in our green spaces, in our waterways, on our lawns. They see plastic waste everywhere they go. So they drew that, and it's sad that they see that everywhere, but they do. Anyway, very obvious that they get it. And it's also clear that the parents and the teachers have provided so much guidance to them because they really do understand it. And it makes it that much more difficult to pick the winners because we really received so many beautiful posters. Without further ado, why don't we take a look at the video of all the submissions? Sign in.
Just hit it.
Okay.
We have top level security here.
Password.
Just close it. Just shut it. You can shut it. Thank you.
A shot. At this time, I would like our liaison, the mayor, to please come forward with the certificates.
I will, let me read up here what they say.
Okay.
And then the certificate reads, in recognition of your creativity and artistic efforts used to express your concern for the environment. Your dedication is most admirable. It is therefore with great pleasure that I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona, along with members of the Verona Environmental Commission, present to you with this certificate of award on this 5th day of May. And I'll come up and we'll.
So from Brookdale Avenue, Liam Rogers for volunteer.
George is on the bottom.
So.
I had them in alphabetical order.
Okay. I'm gonna shake your hand first, Lee. Okay, we're gonna do that. This is yours. Come over here. There you go. You take one end of that.
1, 2.
Did you work up?
Hold on, you stay here. You get to stay up here. All right.
From Forest Avenue School, Tessa Flores, do the right thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Tessa. From FN Brown, Eddie Konigspatz, just don't want to clean up your map.
There you go.
And finally, also from FN Brown, Julia Passero, turn your key, be idle free.
You can come closer. That's a.
Thank you.
We have a whole council down. Picture of everybody.
We're gonna get
Oh, you guys stand in the front, just you're just a little shorter than you are.
that. Yeah, yeah. So,
Next. All right.
Thank you. My son. Wait, it's so the charge.
Before he runs off. Before our young friends run off, I did just want to ask you a favor. You've done so well on these posters. I hope that this is not the end of your activism related to the environment. It's something that we all share as a common need and a common goal. So you've already shown a great deal of leadership in the elementary level. And I hope that that continues as a life goal. So really set the example for older people because we need it. All right. Any other council members have anything they want to? All right, thank you, everyone. And now it's time to go before the rest of the day. Take care. And then number 4. We have a couple of proclamations to read this evening. May is a big month of celebration here, but I do want to acknowledge two of them. Two very important professions in our community. The first is proclamation for National Teacher Appreciation Week. And it reads, whereas teachers are the bridges of knowledge from one generation to the next, and whereas teachers in our public schools reach out to every student regardless of race, religion, country of national origin, family background, physical or mental abilities, social economic disadvantage. And whereas teachers provide opportunities that help prepare students for the demands of higher education and a changing workplace environment. Whereas teachers preserve and support our democratic way of life by helping students understand the principles that built this nation, how those freedoms serve as a hope for people around the world. And whereas teachers encourage and propel our young people to reach for achievements of the highest quality and challenge students to become lifelong learners. And whereas most teachers perform this great service to society in relative obscurity, often through much personal sacrifice and limited recognition. But therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona, I hereby proclaim May 5th through 9th, 2025, to be Teacher Appreciation Week in the Township of Verona. Witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the great seal of the Township of Verona in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, to be affixed on this 5th day of May 5, and that will be distributed to our public school teachers this week. And second, honoring National Police Week. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated the week of May 11th through May 17th as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the Township of Verona Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the Township of Verona. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of the law enforcement agency, that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, by protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression. Whereas the men and women of the Verona Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona in the County of Essex, New Jersey, hereby proclaim May 11th through May 17th to be designated as Police Week in the Township of Verona, and call upon all citizens and patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe this week with appropriate ceremonies and observances, in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. With whereof I turn to set my hand and cause the great seal of the Township of Verona in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, be affixed on this 5th day of May 2025. So if you see a teacher or a police officer this week, please thank them and please tell them that you're observing these police week next week, but teachers this week, they're observing this week. So that's. And now we're moving on to our township manager's report. Mr. O'Sullivan, the highlights.
Thank you, Mayor. Just hitting the highlights on my report. Pool project still continues. Contractor is working through the rain today, installing tiles. They should be installing lights by the end of the week and installing the Mars site by hopefully Monday of next week. Wastewater projects, we have a number of projects that we're advancing. We've circulated the draft version of the sanitary sewer smoke testing. We're continuing to advance our primary clarifier pump station project, and the disinfection system and the microscreen projects are also underway. And we are wrapping up our Derwent Avenue sanitary sewer trunk line point repair this week. With Lynn Drive Well, we are up and running. Fairview Avenue Well is out to bid. We should be receiving bids later this month. Claridge Drive Pump Station, we have the final easements for that project. We're submitting all of our paperwork to the iBank to get the pre-construction meeting started and get that project underway. With Linden Avenue, we are meeting with Boswell and Neighborhood Traffic Safety Committee this week to review the final designs for Linden Avenue, so we can get the project lined up for bids later this summer. Everett Field, we are getting the projects into final design, and again, that project should be ready for final bidding within the next 30 days. Pickleball and tennis courts, we are anticipating the final acrylic surface to be installed in the next several weeks, and that project will then be just the final touch-up items, which would be fencing, benches, nets, and that project will be complete. Shade tree discussions. I previously noted and distributed a recommended plan from the Shade Tree Commission regarding tree removals and tree planting in the Civic Center area just east of the entrance driveway. which is also known as mini park. The plan intends to serve as a transitional approach regarding the declining holiday tree in the Civic Center and the planting of the new holiday tree in the mini park. The plan includes the removal of 3 existing trees as recommended by the township arborist. The plan also calls for planting of a large evergreen century located in this area with corresponding electric and irrigation repairs. Administration and Public Works have met and discussed this project. They've lined up all the costs for all these materials. It's approximately $16,000. We will be proceeding with this project unless there's any questions or comments from the council this evening. Jumping ahead through some of the other projects we have, our affordable housing efforts are continuing to move forward. The affordable housing planner has circulated draft housing element fair share plan. We're meeting with the master plan subcommittee this week, and it'll be a discussion for the planning board, and the council will also be tasked with the adoption of the spending plan and marketing plan. So we should anticipate discussing those in an upcoming meeting. Number of facility projects are underway. That includes the town hall repointing and some cleanup efforts within the town hall building. And I believe that concludes my report unless you have any questions from the council.
Questions from
The removal of the trees that are dead.
They're trees that the arborist has identified as declining trees.
I just to plant one tree. If they are, I'd like to see a little bit more of it. I'm going to take a look at it, but I don't like the fact that we're taking down 3 trees to plant 1, because that area is beautiful. I never really thought any of those trees had any problems. Obviously, we know the holiday trees have an issue,
Right.
but I think for that amount of money, if we're taking down, we can plant a very large size holiday tree that's very mature in the spot where it is now or move it forward, rather than take down some healthy trees. So if they're dying, then it's one thing. Like I'd like to take a look at the area and review it before we just go and take trees down.
Okay.
Yes, I do encourage you to reach out to Carol Thomas, the chair of the committee. They did discuss this over several meetings. Those trees are a certain species, so I'm not going to speak about trees because it's not my area of expertise, but I've listened into a lot. So those are trees that are sort of getting close to maybe the end of their useful life, but it's also to create that space that's needed around a tree that's going to grow rapidly, and thinking ahead on the purpose of that tree, which is to have it lit. And then again, they want to make sure there's electrical and irrigation working now, as the intent is, to shift the focus there in future during the square celebrations. But I really encourage you to reach out directly to Chairwoman Thomas, and they have had several discussions, and there are plans that were sent to us, and they can show you a map and even the tool.
That was my point. I want to go see what trees are there and see what species they are.
Okay.
Just want to follow up and say, be sure. If we can't plant a couple trees there, maybe plant them somewhere else.
Yeah.
You could certainly find
We do expect our residents to plant tree for tree, so if we're not following the same example, that's
Sure.
not what we're looking for. So they don't have to be there, but perhaps there's somewhere else for when when that when the holiday tree goes, we could have a plan in place at least to plant some trees there.
Yeah, they do have a vision, and so they would love to have that conversation, or then somebody come in, and yeah, I'm sure they would love to connect.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, that'd be great.
You're done. More trees are there. Mr. Kraus?
Some of the things in my report that I've been working on tonight's agenda, there is a resolution authorizing the grant application for the Bloomfield Avenue Streetscape project. We are seeking $1.5 million to help with the cost of the project. Deputy Mayor McCoy has been very helpful gathering letters of support from businesses to support the application. We are also looking at some updates to ordinances that I'll continue to highlight as these come in. The first two that we are looking at is the children's fund. The eligibility requirements right now are very strict in there, and it's possible to benefit more by making the requirements a little less strict. That would also come with a fundraising plan and a spending plan. The health department has recommended that we look at our ordinance to begin the licensing of hair, nail salons, barber shops, and massage parlors in town. And that's mainly to give them the ability to go inspect these establishments, and take enforcement action against them. Right now, if a complaint comes in, it has to go to the state. The state can take 4, 6, 8 weeks to respond. They do not have the staff to come out to all areas of the town. At the community center, there have been complaints of individuals cutting through to get up to White Rock Road. We are looking at rerouting traffic there, so to make it less desirable to cut through and avoid the 2 traffic lights. That will come with a map that we push out to the public so they're aware of the changes. We'll also send it to both Hilltop apartment complex and possibly North Pueblo, so they can inform their residents that live up there. That pretty much concludes my report. So there are any questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Is it the administration's intention to put the resident age limits forth for the next upcoming meetings regarding licensing of those establishments?
I would think within the next month or two, we would have that. The health department is looking at neighboring municipalities and see what their licensing fees are. The license fee goes by the number of chairs or seats in the salon or the massage parlor. So a smaller shop pays a lesser fee than a larger.
Does anybody object to seeing the draft ordinance? The only thing I would ask in advance is that we just really pay attention, because I know a lot of these establishments are also big supporters of community fundraising, because they are Main Street businesses, and so they do donate a lot to every sports, anybody that comes in and asks. So I don't want to have a fee that is so high that would reduce that, but we also really don't need to charge a fee if our goal is to be able to inspect, right? The fee is secondary to that goal.
Correct.
So it doesn't need to be anything huge, just enough to cover the paperwork and drafts.
It is not a fee intended for pure revenue generation.
And that is good. Any other questions, Mr. Kraus? Thank you, Mr. Kraus.
Thank you.
Good. We're on to council member reports. Deputy Mayor McAvoy, you are up.
Right to trees again. I'd like to thank the Shade Tree Commission and the Verona High School Environmental Club and HP's Environmental Club. I attended their tree planting at the Salito Field up at Verona High School, as the mayor and Councilman McGrath also attended. It was nice to see the tree, one tree I guess was donated from Hillcrest. But they're very mature trees, so they'll be growing very quickly, which is good. So I thank them for their efforts in that. And on to, I have to thank the Verona Environmental Commission and Hillcrest. They did their native plant sale. And full disclosure, my wife is the chair of the Environmental Commission. But I helped out on Saturday to hand out their plants. They did a large volume. I believe it was 1,300 or 1,400 plants. So initially I didn't plan on helping, but because of how many they had, it was beyond successful in what they thought was going to happen. They were well above what they initially. And then I want to remind Verona residents that Sustainable Verona is still pushing the home energy audit. You can go to the website, Sustainable Verona, and under CIEL environmental, comes out and does the whole house energy audit for $49. And they give you a whole list of what you can spend to upgrade your energy efficiency in your home and potentially save yourself money. And with utility rates going up, we're going up in June, but possibly postponed now, you might want to jump ahead of this and get it done so you can save yourself some money. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Roman.
No report this evening, Mayor. Apologies for being late to the meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. Yes, I want to echo the deputy mayor's comments about the Arbor Day celebration and really applaud our high school environmental commission for really leading the way on that. They looked at the data about heat maps and saw as sustainable, Verona has already reported previously the tremendous heat zone due to the artificial turf. And by planting these 3 trees, I believe there were different varieties of oak, they really have helped to take one step to mitigate this very important problem. As a high school parent, I know just how hot those fields can be, and the shade from these trees will provide relief both for spectators, but also for our high school students as they're practicing and playing on these fields, especially in the summer. The next meeting of the Shade Tree Commission is actually on Monday, May the 12th at 5 p.m. The next meeting of the Neighborhood Traffic and Safety Committee is on Tuesday, May 13th at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. The Multicultural Inclusion and Accessibility Advisory Committee is actually very busy. This is Older Americans Month, and they have partnered with the Senior Club and the Verona Police Department to offer a seminar for seniors on home safety. It's on Wednesday, May the 21st from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Verona Community Center, and light refreshments will be served. And our Board of Education is sponsoring a special event for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders Month, or AAPI month. It's actually on Friday, May the 30th at 7 p.m. in the VHS auditorium. It's going to be a fun evening of entertainment and dance. Some of the acts are still being confirmed, but expect to see promotion on that shortly. And we are all very excited for our annual Pride celebration, which will be on Sunday, June 1st at 1 p.m. At the Verona Civic Center. There is a rain date. Let's hope we don't use it. But it's wonderful to kick off the month, the first day of the month, having this great celebration. Every year it gets bigger and more joyful. So we're very excited for that. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hall.
Yes, thank you. I just want to appreciate the students that were here this evening being rewarded for their posters. It's very heartwarming, and having served as the liaison for the Environmental Commission for a number of years, I know it's a matter that the commission puts a lot of time and effort into. And it's certainly something that the children really enjoy. So I just wanted to applaud them for their efforts, and certainly applaud the leaders that were here this evening. I also want to recognize that since our last meeting, there was a meeting of the Recreation Advisory Committee, where we discussed a number of topics, including the pool memberships, as well as some of our ongoing endeavors from subcommittees. That committee is specifically looking at fees, and whether or not we should revise those fees. So I think that the council should anticipate recommendations regarding recreational fee structures in the next couple of months from that organization. I also want to thank Township Manager O'Sullivan for joining us at that meeting. It was very helpful, and we did have robust attendance. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Moving on to public comments, but this time, the local public comment on any item. Madam Clerk, would you please read the participation statement?
Yes, I will. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any matter? If you're attending on Zoom, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If you're dialing in by phone, press *9. If you're attending in person, please raise your hand to be recognized and approach the lectern. Once recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for the record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note that these meetings will be posted on the township's YouTube channel, and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council. There'll be no cross dialogue during this public portion. After everyone wishing to speak has been heard, the council may address your comments and or questions.
Ready to go. Start in the front, work our way back.
Everyone, after those that all them have met, my name is Thea, and I will address via my address because we are talking about where I live, which is Summit Road. So I just want to thank you all. What a tough act to follow, not only the children, but all the positivity we've shared about trees in this session, because the ask I am putting forth in front of you is to talk about trees being obstruction and being. So for a little background, I have been voicing my concern for about a year or two now. I've lived at my address on Summit Road for about 6 years. My husband actually grew up in the house that we bought. And I've had some very positive, and I'm very grateful for the conversations I've had with the Traffic and Safety Committee up until this point. But this is actually my first time attending town council to ask for your help. So I am speaking on behalf of our street. I have Ellen here as well, and there is a bunch of people on the line from Summit Road because we are at a point where we are looking at all of you to help us in what has become a very visual problem. Each year it's gotten worse. Pulling in and out of Summit Road, where it crosses with Mount Prospect, has become a challenge. So not only, is it hard to pull and make a left, but it's also hard to make a right. And what our concerns are is that with Target coming in place, and I'm not sure when that will be done, it's only going to get worse. So we've made great progress. The conversations we've had, with the chief on the line about a few asks that we put forth, I'd say the biggest progress that we have made is addressing that there has to be one of the 5 trees that are posted on Prospect taken down. But at this point, we haven't seen any change happen there, and we are aware it's a very big ask. And the chief has put this on his to-do list for quite some time. I think my question back to you all is, where could we go from here? How can we make this be, something that is attainable before Target does go up? And truthfully, I'm coming to you all as a mother. I do have 2 young children under the age of 5, and there are a lot of people on the line that do have kids as well. There's also people on the line that have kids who are getting their permits next week, and for us, we just want to make it so that we are safe. And it's hard for me to be up here to say anything bad about the street, because the best part about living in my house is actually the street itself. So we are a community within each other. And, my hope here today is to speak on their behalf and see what change we can.
Thank you. Anyone else? This slide?
Hi, my name is Ellen Lev, and I live on Summit Road. Yes, neighbor, Jim's neighbor. I just wanted to add a few things. So we've lived there for 15 years, and we love our house, and we love where we live, but we do not love Mount Prospect Road. It just, as Thea said, it's just really gets terrible. 2 years ago, my husband and I had a very bad accident when we were trying to make a left turn onto Mount Prospect. We were hit by a car that was coming down the hill very fast and hit the front of our car. And we were just lucky that we weren't very far out when we were hit, because we weren't seriously injured, but the car was still. About the sycamore trees, it seems to be the best thing that we can think of, that would help this out because you really, if you're not in exactly the right place, when you get to the intersection, you cannot see it all. These coming out. And another problem, I don't know if this is taken up by the safety. So, is that because the volume of traffic has gotten so bad lately, especially rush hours, the cars start to back up from the Bloomfield Avenue intersection, and sometimes they'll back up all the way across Sunset Avenue. One of the problems is the signage in Bloomfield Avenue. Now Prospect is so poor because no one can read the sign that says there are 2 lanes that go straight across Bloomfield Avenue. I don't know how much Verona can influence the county for things like that, but I just wanted to put that out there because people, they just get in one line and then that one line just keeps going back and back across Sunset Avenue, and I just thought that maybe could be looked at. Thank you for listening to our neighborhood's concerns and working with us to greatly reduce the traffic dangers we face every day.
Thank you. Good to see you. Anyone else in the gallery? Mr. Shaw? You're not here to talk about something really hard, but.
Say yes. 20.
I agree with you, Joe. Corey Shore,
Yeah.
Verona, New Jersey. Mr. Mayor, Town Council, Town Manager. I thought I start off the attendance conversation today, since that conversation actually started in our committee. Back actually 1 year ago, we sent a memo to the Town Council stating for 70% attendance and 3 misses. Well, things have changed in our committee. And I thank the Town Council and I thank the vetting process and working with all of you to bring on new members and change the membership from 6 to 9, which made a huge difference because we had pretty much perfect attendance every single time and we're getting a lot of stuff done. So maybe to consider, I watched last Town Council meeting and I understand the conversation and why attendance is important. I'm not saying that policy isn't needed. I'm just saying that maybe there are other things that need to be considered. Maybe lowering the threshold a little bit from 70 to 60%. Maybe to consider guidance and also some help towards chairs and also individuals that are part of the committees. Because when they come on there, a lot of times they're not familiar with government. They don't understand the process. So I think those kind of things might help. Instead of just doing one attendance, you have a full package. So maybe tonight, maybe don't move forward on that. Go back to a little bit, some of the training, some of the code of conduct, some of the other things that maybe would be helpful to make an attendance policy better. Now, another thing to look at is also, and I can say this, the subcommittees. I know it's not an attendance policy, but I'm on 2 subcommittees and I've attended at least 5 or 6 subcommittees this year alone. Let alone other committee members that have done very similar things. We're talking on the phone or, getting ready for a meeting. So I think it's well intended, and believe me, I wrote it to begin with, but I think they just need to maybe make some modifications. We don't want to have people not volunteer. And I think what we're trying to do, the merits are very good. And I thank everybody much for their work. And I look forward to some of the other things that we're doing in the rec committee. Just one question I forgot to ask as well. The pool construction, how is that going to be ready for Memorial Day? I was there the other day and I drove by and it looked maybe that it maybe not be ready, but I just want to get just want to see if that would be ready. It's very similar to the splash pad a couple years ago. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Anybody else? Lucy?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time this morning. Mr. Council, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Travis. I'm here today yet again because of the issues related to 10 Park Place and 544, 546 Bloomfield Avenue. We come to find out that, within the last week, they have, formally filed with the town, what I'm not quite sure of. So I am here for two reasons. One, to ask the Township Council and Mr. O'Sullivan to share whatever information they can at this stage about how tenants or former tenants or the landlord or whomever related to Palmetto Venues plan to move forward with their, I guess, approval or appeal to zoning. And also to continue to raise awareness about the issues related to unregulated organizations such as the proposed place of worship at the other unit at 10 Park Place. So, you know, now we have the looming threat of these two organizations in the same building, both which present a serious nuisance and hazard both to the neighborhood in which I live, here on behalf of my family and neighbors from Park Place, as well as the wider Verona community. I certainly know the Township Council is taking these issues seriously, and I do sincerely appreciate everything that you guys are doing and all the communication. But I had to come here tonight because, you know, after a couple of weeks of peace and quiet and restoration of our quiet enjoyment of our homes, we are now again dealing with this threat. So again, I'm here to raise awareness, ask you for whatever information you can share at this juncture, and certainly appreciate the collegial way that everybody has gone about this today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And joining us from Zoom, Mr. Tierney.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. Just
Thank
your
you.
name and-
Just want to thank everyone for their time. My name's John Tierney in Verona. I too live on Summit Road. I just wanted to echo what my neighbors Thea and Helen both shared with the town council. I live here with my wife. I have two kids, one going to Brookdale, one currently in preschool going into Brookdale next year. Completely appreciate the dynamics of Mount Prospect Road just increasing in terms of traffic and dangers. The realities, though, I do think there are solutions available to the town council, identified by my neighbors on Summit Road, to hopefully find solutions that reduce the risk for my neighbors, myself, my family coming in and out of Summit Road onto Mount Prospect. Fully support some of the suggestions that my neighbors shared and continue to be optimistic that solutions are ahead of us. So thank you for everyone's time.
Thank you, Mr. Tierney. Anybody else? We've ran out of people in the room. Okay, we have somebody, Emily.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
you can.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, Emily Polizzi, Verona, Park Place. My husband just spoke in person. I can't be there tonight. Thank you for letting me participate via Zoom. I just want to echo what my husband shared. I'm zooming in tonight on behalf of my family and my neighbors. Basically, we've been enjoying what has been some of the most peaceful weeks or months on our street in a very long time. And I have to say, I was personally disheartened to hear that at that April 30th passing time, when we knew that Palmetto Venues had that opportunity to submit for relief through the Board of Adjustments, that they did in fact do so. We've seen signage coming down off of that building, and we're hopeful that in light of the events in March, we would again have peace restored to our neighborhood. But unfortunately, we've been facing challenges for two different tenants in that same address, 10 Park Place, pursuing non-permitted uses. Again, just wanting to speak out for anybody of residents who are listening, tuning in tonight, to continue to raise awareness of the constant requests for non-permitted use in our town center zone. Those of us who reside there because it is a permitted use for us to enjoy our home. We just really want to make sure everyone is aware that not everyone lives in a peaceful neighborhood. Because we live on that mixed use street, we do have a level of awareness of what comes with living on a street with a parking lot and a shoe repair and the town scoop and the lakeside deli. We are just wanting to make sure everyone understands that we're continuing to be concerned about the threat that is presented by non-permitted uses in our neighborhood. I realize the Board of Adjustment may be the better place to voice these concerns. I did attend the meeting last month and do plan on attending the meetings in the future. But for anyone concerned, to just be aware, and additionally, any questions that can be answered to in regards to the shooting incident that took place in March, which remains unresolved in regards to how that investigation has concluded, if anyone has any arrests have been made in that incident, any of the violations that were to be addressed, really any updates as we sit and wait with bated breath. As residents, we would really appreciate more information, just so we can continue to live in peace as we have for the past couple of months, not really knowing, but we were hoping to get some answers tonight. Any information the council can provide would be greatly, greatly appreciated, both to those of us who reside on the street, and I would think to the residents of Verona at large, because there was gun violence in our town and we are continuing to not receive any updates regarding the status. That's 100 yards from my front door, as we've stated in the past, and it would bring us great peace and peace of mind to know if there's any updates that can be shared with the public in light of that very significant event that took place just months ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, we have Ellen want to talk again. I'm guessing that's her. Her.
Okay. Hold on.
Can you hear me? No?
There you go.
Yes, we can. Her. Yeah.
Well, I was laptop. Thank you, and just want to add a few things that some of you and some of the town officials, other department heads may be aware of. In the last couple of years, what our neighbors and we have done is two issues in particular. One is, and I don't want to get into the weeds here, but it should be brought up now as we move ahead together with the county to try to deal with the problems we've had. And that is the speed limit on Mount Prospect, especially going northbound. I know from Chief Kiernan and others who have been at this for a while that that's been suggested. The county hasn't looked, so far hasn't seen fit to, I'm not sure even, maybe they've investigated it. Maybe they've done some sort of traffic survey. But we do know that that would be very, very helpful. And that would be one thing. Another thing that I know, again, neighbors and I have been pushing for a while is, and comes under that rubric of what the recent meetings of the county's Essex Safe Streets for Essex program talked about. And that is doing things that don't cost a whole lot of money, but relatively modest steps that together are more cost efficient and address the problems head on. One of those things I believe is better signage. And by better signage, I mean maybe more signs that are specific to that particular intersection, and signs that, like one sign that every day I see it. I mean, when I go on Pompton Avenue, for instance, and I realize that's a state road, but we see some of these large signs overhead from this local streets. It'll say, it will give the name of that street, which intersects with Pompton, or it may not be an intersection, it just might be a dead end. That should be one of the first things that we could consider for our corner, so that drivers know that there is a T intersection coming up, that it's identified as such, and they know when they get to it. That's something that's missing. So it's filling in these voids, starting with maybe the bases that we already have, but filling in those missing links to which together I think can make drivers, if nothing else, more aware of what is going on there. And this works for the northbound traffic too. Many of our neighbors and we are concerned that okay, you make a right turn from Summit onto Mount Prospect. Okay, that's not too bad, you can work your way out. The town did put up a second do not block intersection sign. When I mentioned that to Chief Kiernan a few months ago, he said, "Oh, you mean there are unicorns?" Meaning, oh, I mean, there are people actually, listening and heeding that. I said, yes, I've noticed that people, they see that sign, it's bigger, there's a second sign, it does help. But I think that, these are some of the things that we want to be able to do. And again, that's why I think it becomes a combined effort on neighbors, township, county, to do these things. And I was among those who spoke at the public forum that the Safe Streets program had. And I was it was heartwarming, really. It was very gratifying to see the interest that they took in this and other issues and the respect that they pay to residents throughout the county. They've put in a lot of work. They seem to be on the right track as far as I'm concerned. And, so there's another body, another entity that may, without us even going beyond this, get behind our efforts to make that particular stretch of road and many others, of course, throughout the county, that much safer for drivers as well as pedestrians. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, this time I'll close public comments. And I will respond to a couple of these items. First, to the residents of Summer Road, I understand your frustration there entirely. As a rescue squad member for a decade and a half here in Verona, I've unfortunately had the opportunity to not only visit that part of Summer Road quite frequently, but also have to get in and out of some road. The frustration, I think I know the house you're talking about that you grew up in because I own that house. I live on Sunset Avenue, and I frequently run that side down in Mount Prospect. I think it's difficult. One of the challenges we have with Mount Prospect is that it's a county road, and a lot of it has to be done to get the traffic control and signage and stuff, and that all has to be done by the county. That's it's something that fortunately our police chief Kiernan and central administration has a good relationship with the county engineer, and I'm hoping they'll be able to bring some of these concerns forth. And unfortunately, we're in a position where we can't ordain anything or anything like that because of the county university. But I know that Chief Kiernan is working on it, and sometimes government doesn't work as quickly as we like. It's as far as involved, but I do do something else that needs to be done. I can tell you that the target is going to West Orange. I require some the traffic as well, and potentially put in some. I think the traffic will probably slow down the traffic, which is positive. But it's going to be harder to turn out there and start thinking on that as well. But I appreciate you and all your neighbors being there to discuss that. Mr. Sullivan, can I miss there? Yeah. Related to the investigation into the shooting that happened in March, we cannot comment on it. The public information related to that is currently being controlled by the Essex County Prosecutor's Office. And I would encourage you to contact the Essex County Prosecutor's Office for information as we are to release any at this time. And that's all I can provide. But I'm equally as frustrated. This is not the first time I've been frustrated with Essex County Prosecutor's Office. But there are procedures that take place. I'm hoping that if they're doing this, there will be reason to successful prosecutions that have been involved, that they can be successful. And that's my hope. And trust me, I would have told you a lot before if we were allowed to, and frankly, the council's been purposefully out of the investigation in order to not compromise the investigation. And I'll address Mr. Shore's comments when we talk about that item. Oh, Mr. O'Sullivan, do you want to address the open by minute, please?
Sure, the contractor has continued on schedule with the schedule that they proposed. The tile work and the light installation, again, that will continue through the duration of this week. They were out there working through the rain today. The materials for the Site and the relining of the pool are on site already. They are hoping to begin lining the pool next week. That should take 2 to 3 days to line the pool, and then after that, it's just a matter of filling the pool and balancing the chemicals in the pool. So the contractor is still expecting to deliver the pool on time.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Moving on to hearing adoption or amendment.
Just a question to the mayor, for Summit Road, you mentioned Mr. Mayor, that obviously the county takes care of all the signage on that road. Who has ownership of those cigarette lots that we're talking about?
Yeah, that's the question.
Does the county have ownership to them? Because they don't have a
The county will typically maintain the roadway, and the drainage within the roadway, and the sidewalks and trees, they typically
try to leave it up.
they try to leave it up to the municipality.
So if we ask them, like, obviously the first tree there is like 10 foot off the corner. If we went to them and wanted to remove that one tree.
I think there's what we did with when we had speeding complaints on Bloomfield Avenue, we did work with Boswell to come up with some additional striping and signage plans. We presented those to the county to get their support and their buy-in. The township undertook those on our own accord after getting approval from the county. So I'm going to look to schedule a meeting with both the chief and with Boswell Engineering to come up with a similar game plan for this intersection.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Councilwoman McGrath.
Yes, just to add color from our previous neighborhood traffic and safety committee meetings. I think that, the chief has some ideas, and again, one option is to remove a very particular tree. It may not be that first one, but maybe the second one in. And they are gorgeous street trees, but the issue is balancing them with, the sight lines and the crossing neighborhood. So, and there was a question like, is this, I think they may think they're a county tree. So I think if we can resolve this behind the scenes, and then working with Boswell to see what all of our options are, I think that would be great to keep it moving forward. Because definitely the chief worked through some new signage opportunities. Maybe there was some limited striping, but I think the more we can do, the better. I do agree that Target is going for it. Good. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to page 1, Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is ordinance number 20.5-09 on second reading, which we previously filed this.
An ordinance to amend chapter 8565-1 fees of the Code of the Township of Verona by amending plenary retail distribution license fees.
Somebody move the ordinance, please. Motion made by the deputy mayor, the second is made by Councilman McGrath. Now it's time for a public hearing on ordinance 2025-09, same for comments 85, so our comments are limited only to this. Hearing none, we'll close public comments, any council discussion. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor ordinance 2025-09 passes 5-0. It will be published according to law.
Next item on the agenda is an ordinance on first reading, labeled I-1. Madam Clerk, please read the title of this.
An ordinance amending Chapter 5, Article 2, Section 24 of the Township Code to establish attendance and participation requirements for members of the Township boards, committees, and commissions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll move the ordinance. Do I have a second? Deputy Mayor seconds. There's no public hearing as it's first round of council discussion. I'll start. Mr. Shore, I wanted to really appreciate your comments. The rec committee did bring version of this forward that the township began to discuss, and then it was put on the back burner. Though the issues related to meeting attendance are not related to just the rec committee, we want that understood by the public. That we've had other areas where people have been attending meetings inconsistently versus on council. And I'm glad that the meeting attendance issues have been resolved on the rec committee, but we're in a position where we have to make sure that that's done everywhere. I tend to, as a legislature, want to avoid the retrospective legislation if we can. Right? So I'm looking to the future and develop a policy that would address this issue in the future if we have non-participating members, so that we're not scrambling over a months-long period if we have people simply not showing up to meetings. That now we have to ordain a solution which takes 4 months to do, from soup to nuts, because you have to publish it has to go to the public and stuff like that. We need to empower our appointing authorities and our administration to address these items. So they have 70% is a very generous participation requirement. I think if any member of the Township Council only showed up at 70% of meetings, of the public would have a problem. And I honestly think that if the public saw members of these boards and commissions not attending, that they would also have a problem with that as well. I think especially in that these are not just your standard running for volunteers. You have people that are raising money for simple organization, something like that. Every volunteer we have in this township is important. I've been involved in the township since before I lived here as a volunteer, and I understand that. But part of the job of our boards and committees is to provide opinions and advice to the council. And in order for the council to be able to take that as representative of the entire committee, we have to make sure that the people are there that we've appointed to provide us that official feedback. And more, something I've been pushing the last 4 years for these committees to provide, like your committee does, recommendations directly to the council. Because when it came on, that wasn't always as common a thing, right? And that's something that I'm really pushed, and I'm glad it's happening as we move forward. So I think that's my desire to do this. I think that, as I said in the last meeting, I'm not going to said that standards for attendance are pretty common in everything that we do. If at our last meeting, we had folks that were coaches, if your softball coach only showed up 70% practices, softball coach would be replaced, right? And so now we're asking people who are not making policy, but recommending policy to really also be present. So I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the comments of or some of the council members who disagree, especially with the threshold for attendance. But the reality of it is that we have these committees have important jobs to provide recommendations to this. So I'm very comfortable with the revised ordinance that was sent to us. It's unfortunately not the one in the packet. It's from one that the revised ordinance to us.
I didn't receive that revised ordinance.
No, I don't have a revised.
Yeah, nothing was received.
What?
That never made it out of council. Well, I'm gonna move to table the conversation until next meeting, until I look at the revised ones. I honestly didn't look at the that came from Mr. Lyle, we'll send it out to everybody, so I'm gonna move to table as a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Mr. Sullivan, can you forward that to everybody, please? The April 22nd evening.
Can I ask a process question?
Sure.
So, I would love to see that, because I took the ordinance that was in our packet and sent it to my chair. So if we get feedback to whom, with suggested comments to make that ordinance stronger, to whom do we send the feedback? Before the meeting, or are we gonna discuss this in new business so that we can need some feedback? My chairs of my committees would like to be able to have a chance to provide feedback on this new ordinance.
Well, I think that that's fine. I would send, I think the ordinance and meters is something that I've been advocating for, so you want to send it to me and to a lawyer and to Sullivan. So we can take a look and if we have anything that's easily agreeable, put it in. If there's anything that needs to be discussed, we have a draft that has the agreeable items, and if there's anything else that you discuss, we can propose as amendments during first reading, if there is go back for three. That would be the process. Okay. But if you get those, in by the end of the week, so we can give sort of later the time to write, and so we can get this back in this meeting, that would be great. All right, we are tabled on that. And we are moving on to the consent agenda. We have two sets of minutes, and we have 8 resolutions. We have no licensing permits this evening. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made by the councilwoman. At this time, open for public comment on the consent agenda. Same public comment stage required.
I'm sorry, I need to pull one, and I didn't use that, so that was being given.
Okay, which one?
L6.
L6. Okay. Mr. Deputy Mayor, would you amend your ordinance to for L1 through L5 and L7 through L8? And you will
Also
second that amendment. We'll just do a second vote on that. All right, I'm going to call for public comment on all of the items, regardless of whether it's item 6 or not. So we have public comment again. Same public comment statement applies, but we can only comment on these items. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close public comments. Any council discussion on L1 through 5, 7 through 8.
I would just like to thank everybody for putting L7 on here. We've been talking about composting for quite a while. I really think that if we had areas of Verona that we thought about it, but obviously with the laws in New Jersey, we can't have full composting, but for leaves and grass and things like that, we used to do it in Verona and we got away from it. And a lot of residents would like to get it back. So I'm really in support of this, and the state realizes it. How it could also, it saves the town a lot of money, typically fees, as it said. So I really think I'm very happy about this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I thank Jen a lot during these meetings. Speaking of that, thank you, Madam Clerk. To call the roll, please.
Yes. Councilwoman Holland,
This is for L5 and 7 and 8.
This are 1 through 5, 7, and 8.
Yep, okay, yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, L1 through L5 and 7 and 8 will be numbered 96 through and including 102.
Thank you. For the sake of time, I will move L6. Is there a second?
Second.
At this, well, we already had that. Any council discussion? Well, I want to discuss this. I want our money.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. I'm going to make it very simple. This is our money and we should be getting this.
Yeah.
Councilman McGrath.
Yes, I think the League of Municipalities released a calculator 2 or 3 years ago, and we were short well more than $1 million. I think it was like 1.2 or $1.7 million. That is really taken from us from the state of New Jersey to use for other purposes. Again, we need this money for municipal tax relief, and this needs to be addressed by the legislature. It is really annoying.
Yeah. I second all of those.
Yes.
Any other comments? Councilman Roman likes money. Anything to say?
Ditto and ditto.
I like money.
All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll on that, please.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Abstain.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm abstaining.
Councilwoman Holland,
Abstain.
I apologize. Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
A resounding yes.
Okay, so L6 will be numbered 103. It passes 4-0 with 1 recusal.
No, I'm not
Abstention.
recused.
I mean, with
abstain.
1 abstention. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no recusal.
All right. We are moving on to discussing our council meeting dates. This is new business. And. This wasn't. Did you put it in a warrant?
Oh, I mailed them a while ago.
That was a while.
Yep.
April 4th.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I will resend it right now if you want.
That would be great. That would be the fastest way to do it.
All right.
I remember seeing it.
Should be there.
All right, can we just want to kind of go month by month here? July. I know that I will not be physically be in attendance for the July 7th meeting for C's. And there's a bit of time difference. I'm not sure if it's in 1:30. But is anybody else conflicted on that day with a vacation? We have more than an hour, we should probably consider it the day. No? Okay, Mayor, you're on for that. First off the gavel. All right, any other comments for July? Okay, for August.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, I'm sorry. I have I won't be able to be in town on August 4th, bringing my daughter to college.
Okay.
So I just don't know, whether or not my assistant will be back by then.
But
I'll check with their schedule.
because we're not voting these tonight, right?
No, I'll put
Right.
something together.
Check, sure. It's so easy with the article.
What?
The clerk, the manager, the health officer, everybody. Is that? Get Joe back, because
The
clerk
quick work for me.
the clerk pro tempore. All right, August, any? No problems with August?
I just wanna say, I like keeping our council schedule. I am not sure I'm gonna be able to make the second meeting of August, because I too am dropping off the child at college, so.
Everybody's allowed. Everybody's allowed.
TBD.
Summer.
TBD, I just wanted to.
Do we have two that have to miss the 16th?
18th.
18th, sorry, I can't, my vision is not that great. All right, no, okay, let's.
Right, well, I mean, if we're in the interest of like just talking about our vacations, like I may miss July 21, but like, I didn't think that was.
Two? No? Yeah, so we're good. As long as there are 4 of us here, we're okay, in case we have to pass bomb. All right, and.
All right, what is happening in September?
So the September, I only put one meeting because I wasn't, the 22nd is the first night of Rosh Hashanah.
And then to have on 29th would be a week off the next meeting.
Should we do it Tuesday?
Schools are closed on the 23rd.
It'd still be the holiday.
I know that we ran into trouble, like having only one meeting, but I think it was because we had 2 months of only one meeting. I see that we would have 2 meetings in October and ostensibly 2 meetings in November and December. It's like.
I think we needed to, if we have an urgent, if we haven't ahead of time, we think the manager can plan legislative calendar to make sure that we don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But we can always have a special meeting if there's a specific topic that anybody's really exposed to that. Just try more efficient. That's fine, because you have back to school nights and things like that too, that in these weeks as well.
Did we look at that? Is that on your?
There isn't one as early as the 8th.
There's not, okay.
Do October the 6th and 20th. Makes sense to me. Okay. November. We moved. The municipalities in the middle, election day is there, so.
So we're shifting off of
We're
the
shifting
third,
third,
to the second and fourth.
I just don't want to have,
No, no, it makes sense,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to. be doing
That's actually
something
kind of a
before
perfect.
election.
Nobody really listens to it. Um, December. Yep, first and. Well, December first would be a week after.
right, that was
We
the
got-
question mark. Hmm.
The second is the first holiday.
Well, so then it begs the question whether or not you have another month of just one meeting for November. And then you do the 1st and the 15th in December, so we just, again, the administration would just have to be mindful of a single meeting in September and a single meeting in November.
Yeah, that's in 2 in November. I would do 1 in December, or do 2 and 2 if we have a light agenda on December 1st. We have a light agenda on December 1st. I mean, it's just
Means preparing the packet on Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Well, right after, yeah.
Um,
It's all the week, how much business is it, maybe
Yeah.
the 24th?
I have no, it should be 22nd. Because it's gonna get the schools in session anyway. I think we want to be able to.
Oh, you want to do the 8th and the 22nd?
It's not, it was I think we moved to the 8th and 22nd. Yeah, just try to keep our meeting on the 22nd. As late as possible. Otherwise,
Well, just had the meeting on the 8th.
I think it's hard, especially because we moved the election, so we definitely. Last month of the council term.
I mean, I would favor keeping to the 1st and the 3rd of. For the 1st and the 3rd Mondays for December, not doing it on the 22nd. And, you know, the alternative would be. Just have the one. Cause you're already pushing it off of the 1st Monday anyway. So, but I would put that forward as the alternative. Because like the difference between a November 24th council meeting and a December 1st is negligible. Because between the lead municipalities and the Thanksgiving holidays, like there's not additional business that's gonna be on that December 1st, so you may as well just strike the November 24th and do it on December 1st.
That's fine. Let's get into the special meeting.
Yeah.
We'll do it on Thanksgiving Day. Congrats.
Actually, maybe. Never know. I'm gonna be hosting this year. My Thanksgiving plans are in July.
Okay. So we strike in the 24th.
And then we go into
January
January.
public education. Then 2 weeks between the municipalities and the election day and school vacation is not optimal. All right. Going into January.
Okay, so if I may, the reorg meeting packet would actually go off earlier, not on January 1st. If we had the 5th,
So I'm sorry, what?
like I'm not gonna, I'll have a packet delivered to the council earlier. Because January 1st is a holiday, if we have the meeting on the 5th.
So the
Because we'll have
paperwork would be
appointments.
distributed before the Thursday and Friday.
I'll try.
But,
So in our ordinance, when we revised it, it doesn't say January 1st. It says January 1st or
The first,
another appropriate date as the council decides.
right, but then I think the law says the first week, that's why I was like, just putting it then. Did you have something?
I believe technically, right, if you have your reorganization on the 5th and you have the council members then get elected, still have to come on the January 1st to be sworn in.
Oh, you want to just do the 9th, Oh.
Because
I see what you're saying.
otherwise we
I
have
have to think about
5
that.
days without.
I don't think they actually, I think they can vary though. This is a good question for Brian, because I think nonpartisan governments
are treated differently than varsity.
What was your statement?
So the issue is the council term for the current council expires on December 31st. If you don't have your swearing in of the council members until the 5th,
We have
we
no,
have unsworn council members for 4 days, 5 days.
okay,
So
do you want to have it on New Year's Day?
maybe a ceremonial meeting on New Year's Day, and then, you know, and leave your business meeting to be the 5th.
I think,
Why don't we hold off and?
yeah, I
the
would like to
attorney
get
said
advice on that.
Yeah, whether we have to do it, because I agree, then we have 4 days calendar basically. And all of our terms expire.
And the other thing to be aware of as well, to be aware of is for our, but we changed the code, I believe, to allow the swearing in of council members to happen inside at the community center on the 1st. And there for the first meeting, otherwise the council meetings have to take place in this building. Per the code, they have to take place in a normal place and meeting this place. We allow it for the one meeting, so we have to potentially, because you have been so well attended, swearing ins and things like that, you need a larger venue. You'd be having your entire meeting, your business meeting at night at the community center on the 5th. So we need to, before we vote on this, we need to get some answers on when we have a full business meeting at the community center. Is that a violation of our own code and state statute? And do we need to have a ceremonial swearing in on the 1st, just to cover ourselves? So those are the 2 questions that we answered between now and this option. And then we're looking at a meeting on Martin Luther King Day, which we did this year as well.
Sorry, did this calendar go into June? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're just looking at objections to
Hey, it's gonna be in the, if you're referencing the state code, the statute.
What's that?
It's referencing the statute on when we meet and everything, so I'll look that up and
Alright.
talk to Brian.
We'll have an answer for.
Mhm.
Okay, any other unfinished business? New business? Should we move the 19th to the 20th? It is a holiday. Are the township offices closed?
We did this year.
Yeah, I know we did this year. So, is there any, do you have a strong opinion on this?
I mean, I think we should honor the holiday.
Why don't we just, we could wait until we,
The problem with moving to the 20th is that maybe, I think that's a school board meeting night in your home.
and that's the Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
place for my meeting.
I know I had a couple comments from the public last week.
We can just wait until we see Brian's take on the first meeting in January.
Yeah, and
Go
see
from
what
there.
happens with that. Okay.
And then one more thing is, like, for the June meeting on the 9th, we'll just have it a light agenda
Yeah.
for the next day of the election day.
Yeah, so I'm always in favor of light.
Okay.
No further.
That's gonna conflict with capital.
Our capital commissions are next meeting, those that don't, or capital discussion is next. meeting.
Yes. That'll be good. Discussion on capital.
So the bond hearings will be on time. Or we're gonna be done during the summer meeting.
We should probably do it on the 9th because then we have it available in mid-July.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that on in the summer. So, but that'll be the introduction.
So it'll be the introduction.
Yeah, so the public hearing will be, it's still be
The 23rd.
23rd, which is just, right. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else? We did make a motion to go or pass resolution on executive session, any official action?
No.
No? All right, is everybody on board?
Just for legal.
You want to start again?
No, go ahead.
And just going back to my earlier comment, Mayor Timur, I certainly appreciate your response. However, I do feel like, we simply talked about the investigation. However, I still have no additional information about what has transpired, with regards to 10 Park Place, particularly the advancements since last week. So, I can appreciate that there might not be so much available information at this point because township attorney is not here. However, I would love to hear anything that you can share, particularly with Mr. O'Sullivan. I know you've received letters or something from the Palmetto Venues people. So I would just ask that any information that you can share regarding Palmetto Venues at this point would certainly be appreciated. Thank you.
Any other public comments? No? Okay. I'm just gonna give anybody a chance. Anybody that we kicked out of the meeting that wants to comment, just keeping moving, so. Anybody came back in? Seeing none, I'm gonna close public comment. Mr. O'Sullivan, any comments on Park Place with that?
Sure. The Palmetto Venues business has retained an attorney. They've requested an application for a variance, which was provided to them. It has not been returned, but they do still remain closed. Because Palmetto Venues has retained an attorney, no further comment can be made, and the application, if it's submitted, will be considered in the normal course. I think that's the extent of what we can provide this evening.
The normal course being the zoning board adjustment. And as I've said in previous meetings, but I'll just clarify for the public, is that we are the appellate body to the zoning board, and thus we are adjoining from making any comments related to a zoning application while it's before the zoning board, because that will conflict us. If there obviously anything that is subject to the Public Records Act, which puts you can file a request with township clerk and she would provide you documents within the public. All right. Okay, now we're going to executive session. Thank you, everybody.